lost in the other dimension. The night had just begun, and little did I know, it would be the start of my descent into a terrifying otherworldly realm. It all started with a strange encounter that would forever change the course of my life. I was wandering through the woods near my home, searching for my lost brother who had disappeared without a trace months ago. As the moon cast its eerie glow through the trees, I stumbled upon a clearing unlike any I had ever seen before. It was as if the air itself crackled with energy, sending shivers down my spine. Suddenly, a blinding light engulfed me, and I felt myself being pulled into a vortex of swirling colors and indescribable sensations. When the chaos finally subsided, I found myself standing in a strange and twisted dimension unlike anything I had ever imagined. The sky above was a sickly shade of green, and the landscape stretched out before me in a nightmarish panorama of twisted trees and jagged rocks. But it was the people who truly horrified me, their faces contorted into grotesque masks of terror, their eyes empty and soulless. I stumbled through the desolate landscape, searching desperately for any sign of my brother. But as I wandered deeper into the twisted realm, I realized that I was not alone. The lost souls of Earth had been pulled into this dimension by some unseen force, and now we were all trapped in a nightmare of unimaginable horror. Despite the terror that surrounded me, I found solace in the fact that I still had access to Reddit, a small comfort in an otherwise bleak existence. It was through this platform that I hoped to find a way out of this nightmarish dimension, to escape the clutches of the others who held us captive in their twisted realm. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, I began to lose hope. How would I ever find a way out of this realm, surrounded by terror and despair at every turn? Only time would tell, but until then, I would continue to search for my lost brother, clinging to the faint glimmer of hope that one day, we would find our way back home. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the twisted realm of the others continued to hold me captive in its grip of terror and despair. Every moment felt like an eternity, each day bleeding into the next in a never-ending cycle of darkness and hopelessness. Despite the horrors that surrounded me, I refused to give up hope. My brother was somewhere out there, lost but not forgotten, and I was determined to find him and bring him home. But as time wore on, that hope began to wane, overshadowed by the grim reality of our situation. The faces of the lost souls who wandered the desolate landscape haunted my dreams, their twisted visages etched into my mind like a macabre tapestry of suffering. Through Reddit, I connected with people in the same situation as me who had been pulled into this nightmarish dimension by the others. Together, we shared our stories and offered each other support, united in our struggle to escape the clutches of our captors. But as time passed, it became increasingly clear that our chances of escape were slim. The realm of the others was a labyrinth of twisted corridors and hidden dangers, a place where every corner held new terrors waiting to be unleashed. And yet, despite the odds stacked against us, I refused to give up hope. With each passing day, I searched for a way out of this realm, driven by the unshakable belief that my brother was still out there, waiting for me to find him. Then, one day, as I wandered through the desolate landscape, I stumbled upon a strange and ancient artifact, a key, unlike any I had ever seen before. It pulsed with a strange energy, beckoning me to unlock the secrets of this twisted dimension. With trembling hands, I inserted the key into a nearby door, its surface etched with strange symbols and runes. And as I turned the key, a blinding light engulfed me, transporting me to a place beyond the realm of the others. When the light finally faded, I found myself standing in a familiar forest, the sun shining brightly overhead. I had finally escaped their clutches. As I made my way back to civilization, I couldn't help but wonder about my lost brother. Have I seen him and not recognized him with his twisted face and empty eyes? Or did he lose all hope and join them in their abductions? Story 2. The haunting reflection. I never used to give much thought to mirrors. They were just another everyday object, a mundane necessity of modern life. But all that changed when I started noticing something unsettling in my own reflection. It started innocently enough, a fleeting glimpse of movement in the mirror when I wasn't looking directly at it, a shadowy figure lurking just beyond the edge of my vision. At first, I brushed it off as nothing more than a trick of the light, a figment of my overactive imagination. But then, one day, As I stood before the mirror in my bathroom, brushing my teeth before bed, I saw it, my own reflection, smiling back at me with a grin so wide it stretched from ear to ear. I froze, toothbrush halfway to my mouth, as I stared into the unnerving visage staring back at me. I blinked, and the smile was gone, replaced by my own familiar reflection. But the image lingered in my mind, haunting me long after I had turned away from the mirror. As days turned into weeks, I found myself increasingly obsessed with the strange occurrences surrounding my reflection. I would catch glimpses of movement in the mirror when I wasn't looking, shadows flitting across the glass like ghostly apparitions. And then, one night, as I lay in bed, unable to sleep, I saw her, a little girl standing behind me in the reflection, her eyes wide and unblinking, her mouth stretching into a grin so wide it seemed to split her face in two. I screamed and spun around, but there was no one there. Just an empty room bathed in the soft glow of moonlight streaming through the window. I tried to convince myself that I was just seeing things, that I was letting my imagination run wild. But deep down, I knew that something was terribly wrong. The mirrors in my house were no longer just reflective surfaces, they were portals to a world of suffering and terror. I began to avoid mirrors whenever possible, but no matter how hard I tried to escape them, the mirrors seemed to follow me, their presence a constant reminder of the horrors that awaited me on the other side. As the days passed, my paranoia surrounding mirrors only deepened. Each glance into their reflective surfaces filled me with a sense of dread, as if I were peering into a twisted alternate reality where shadows danced and figures lurked just out of sight. I tried to rationalize the phenomenon, convincing myself that it was all just a trick of the mind. But deep down, I knew that there was something more sinister at play, something lurking just beyond the surface of the glass, waiting to ensnare me in its web of darkness. The little girl with her unnerving smile haunted my every waking moment, her image burned into my mind like a scar that refused to heal. Then, one night, as I lay in bed, unable to sleep, I heard a faint scratching sound coming from the other side of the bedroom door. My heart pounding in my chest, I crept out of bed and approached the door, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. With a shaky breath, I flung the door open, expecting to find nothing but darkness on the other side. But instead, I was greeted by a sight that sent chills down my spine, the little girl from the mirror, standing in the hallway, her eyes fixed on me with a look of malicious intent. I stumbled backwards in shock, my mind reeling as I tried to make sense of what I was seeing. How had she gotten out of the mirror? And more importantly, what did she want with me? Before I could react, she lunged forward, her fingers clawing at my face with a strength that belied her small stature. I screamed and stumbled backwards, frantically trying to fend her off as she advanced relentlessly, her smile widening with each passing moment. With a surge of adrenaline, I managed to break free from her grasp and flee down the hallway, her laughter echoing in my ears as I ran. I burst through the front door and into the cool night air, gasping for breath as I stumbled down the street, my mind consumed by fear and paranoia. I knew then that there was no escaping the horrors that lurked within the mirrors. They were a gateway to a world of suffering and terror, a realm where nightmares roamed freely and the line between reality and illusion blurred beyond recognition. As I fled into the night, I vowed to never look into another mirror again, knowing that to do so would be to invite the darkness that lurked within into my life once more. The haunting reflection had claimed its final victim, and I would do anything to ensure that I was not next. The end. Subscribe for more. Thank you.